Welcome everybody. This is the once a week Twitter Spaces where we talk about different circular Bitcoin economies that are happening around the world. This week is a little bit different. Viva Bitcoin's not a circular economy per se, but what they're endeavoring to do definitely drives forward the ability to have circular Bitcoin economies, especially in Latin America. And so yeah, definitely excited to hear more about where the vision came from and then what things are happening on a practical level. And then we will hear from Forte about what's happening there in Cuba, if he feels comfortable sharing with us about that. I know there's sometimes he has to be a little careful about what he says, but yeah, we're excited to hear. So Tony, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and where the vision for Viva Bitcoin came from and where you guys are heading.
Yeah, so my name's Tony. I live in Northern California, and I met Mike over in El Salvador during the halving party. And Viva Bitcoin started a little over 2 years ago. So what was happening? I started going to all these conferences back in 2016, and just going to all kinds of conferences. And sometimes I'd notice I was the only Spanish-speaking person at the conferences. So we started Viva Bitcoin to bring the community closer in Latin America, the United States. In the United States, there's over 60 million Latinos, and we just wanted to bring people together. So when we started Viva Bitcoin, I'm in the trades. I'm a developer. I build homes and remodel up in Northern California. So about 2 years ago, I started taking Bitcoin through my business. So I'd offer people, if I do a remodel, I'd offer them 10, 20% off the job if they paid me in Bitcoin. So about 2 years ago, I had about 5 people pay me in Bitcoin. Um, Last year, same. This year, I've had 2 people pay me in Bitcoin. So when we started with Viva Bitcoin, we just wanted to bring the circular economy together. So I got in contact with one of my good friends who's a developer up here where I live. We just met. We talked to people. What do you have to offer? Well, I'm a contractor. I'm a developer. Okay, you sell coffee. There's so many talents. We had someone that was a graphic designer. We could pay you in Bitcoin. Forte was fortunate enough at the halving party. He brought cigars. We paid him in Bitcoin for the cigars. Cuban cigars are very popular, right? And we got him to come in. We have a guy over in Yucatan, Merida, who does T-shirts. He made all our T-shirts. We paid him in Bitcoin. He made all our hats, banners. We paid him in Bitcoin. So the circular economy, from El Salvador, the U.S. to Mexico, panties and Bitcoin. We're friends with panties and Bitcoin. We bought a few items from them. So as you start to meet people at different conferences, different events, that's the circular economy. So we import coffee from Colombia. We're also associated with people in Cuba. So the connection starts that circular economy as you start to talk to people. So Viva Bitcoin, just bringing people together, uniting people together. Another example I tell people, I went to Yucatan, Merida, and I stayed in a Bitcoin hotel. This gentleman named Chris had a hotel there. And instead of staying at a hotel, a fiat based hotel, yeah, it was a little more expensive, to stay at a Bitcoin hotel, but it's part of supporting the economy, right? Supporting the connections of people within the community. And same thing with anything else. Sometimes in my development of building homes, remodeling, people will pay me a little more. They don't mind paying me a little more because it's honest work and it's in Bitcoin. So as we build the circular economy all around, I met a realtor up here in Northern California who sells houses in Bitcoin. She's in Northern California, and every time I remodel for her, she pays me in Bitcoin. So every time you meet someone out in the Bitcoin economy, If it's in Northern California, if it's in Mexico, if it's in El Salvador, Colombia, um, Guatemala, anywhere, Argentina. What we're trying to do with Viva Bitcoin is connect the community. And in Spanish, we use the Spanish word Viva Bitcoin, long live Bitcoin. And as we're bringing the community together and as we're uniting people together, we're helping each other. And unbelievable, just to kind of give you a story of the Bitcoin economy. We had 10 members from Viva Bitcoin go to the halving party with Sean Harris and the Mimi Factory, right? So I didn't know how we were going to transport a lot of these people. I was concerned, just making sure my team got to the halving party safely. So I told Forte, I say, hey, I'm going to do some rent a cars. I'm looking at Hertz, I'm looking at Alamo. First thing Forte tells me, he goes, you got to call Napoleon from Bit Driver. And I said, what? Who's Bit Driver? Call Napoleon from Bit Driver. And we hired him for that whole week to help us transport our team back and forth. And the interesting thing about Bit Driver is that he was less expensive than your Hertz or your Alamo. So met Bit Driver, met Napoleon, one of the nicest guys. One of his workers, Juan, was a personal driver for us the whole time was there. But that's what I mean by the circular economy. That's what I mean. You make connections throughout Latin America, throughout the United States, everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. For example, I have a friend in out there in Yucatan, Merida, Amanda. She sells houses in Bitcoin. If you're ever down there, it's called Bit Casa. That's a friend of mine. I went out there a year ago to look at beautiful Merida. Met her through the Bitcoin community. I've met other amazing people throughout the Bitcoin community. And so, what we're doing is just bringing people together. Doesn't matter where you're at. If you want to deal in Bitcoin, we want to help you. We want to make connections for you.
Tony, can you explain to us how that happens on a practical level when you say you want to bring people together? Like what exactly does that involve? I know you guys are doing some podcasts. I don't know if you have any type of like website or other things that helps connect, or if it's more of an informal, just out there trying to work to connect people. So maybe explain a little bit of the nuts and bolts about what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so what we're doing, we have team members in Viva Bitcoin. We hold every Monday night on the Twitter space at 5 o'clock California time, 8 o'clock New York time. We hold a spot on the Twitter space for an hour in Spanish, en español, Viva Bitcoin en español. And we bring guests on there. We've brought guests from all over the world on there. We've brought speakers from Argentina who sell books. We've brought guests who are developers from Costa Rica, the Costa Rican economy. So what we're trying to do is in the Viva Bitcoin with the Twitter space. We've come out with some educational videos now. We're putting them on YouTube. We're putting them on the Viva Bitcoin Twitter space. We're trying to do the TikTok connection. So what we're doing on the lower level is what's happened in Latin America. This is just my personal experience. Being raised in America, going through all the Bitcoin conferences in the U.S., attending all the different Bitcoin events throughout the U.S. It's mainly been Americans, Europeans. So with the Latin people in Mexico, Central America, South America, there's a lot of shit coining going on. There's a lot of crypto NFTs. So we're trying to do is educate people. We're trying to educate people about Bitcoin and how it's 100% decentralized. And so we're doing it in a grassroots way, like here in Northern California, we hold meetups, but we're also sponsoring different groups in different parts of Latin America. So we've sponsored people in Yucatan, we sponsor people in Jalisco, Central America, Cuba. So by the sponsorship with Viva Bitcoin, if you're holding a meetup, sponsored by Viva Bitcoin. If you're talking about, if you're going to invite people to a dinner and it's hosted by a Bitcoin business, that's what we're trying to do right now. We've had a few Bitcoin events up here in Northern California where we've had a dinner, and we invite people. We invite people to a restaurant or to a bar, and we try to orange peel the restaurant or the bar and pay in Bitcoin. Just kind of bring a friend. You want to learn. Okay, yeah, you're going to come out to this event. The restaurant makes money or whatever the event. So we're trying to connect people in different ways. Through the economy, because the ultimate goal of Viva Bitcoin is that we all get paid in Bitcoin, right? We don't want to be paid in fiat. So if you have something to offer the Bitcoin community, let us know. Maybe you sell T-shirts. Maybe you build homes. Maybe you're a surfer and you know how to build some nice surfboards. There's so much talent in this Bitcoin community. So we're trying to connect with people, and we're trying as hard as we can to get off the fiat standard. We want to all be full-time Bitcoiners. I want to make money 100% in Bitcoin. And that's part of the goal of Viva Bitcoin.
Awesome. Do you want to have Forte come up and talk a little bit about what he's been helping you guys with?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Bitcoin is a great team. It's an amazing. There are many people with different skill, and this is incredible. It's an
Forte,
excellent team, very human.
would you mind just introducing yourself first for those that don't know you? I know a lot of people in here know you, but there'll be some that don't. So maybe just give a little introduction. Forte?
Sorry. I am Forte. I'm from Cuba Bitcoin. We are building a circular economy with education, and in Cuba we are teaching with the My Fair Bitcoin program and with other education program about Bitcoin. Our work is about 2 years ago, and we are work for educate people, and in the future we have a Bitcoin circular economy. As a long time, there are only five, for example, only five business in BTC map pinned. And in this moment in Cuba, there are 29 business. It's little, but is a example like the adoption in Cuba is growing. Viva Bitcoin is an excellent group. It's an excellent friend, and it's amazing because uh, they can be support, and Viva Bitcoin can show about a team with different skill, and it's incredible. Sorry for my bad English.
No, you're doing great. That's exciting to hear, and it's been fun to see some of the videos of what was going on in Cuba. I know when Joe and Paco were there, they put out some great footage. It was great having you come to the Adopting Bitcoin conference, and then I was excited to see you back there for the halving party. So Tony, maybe tell us how you connected with Forte, and I think you guys helped him come to the halving party there. So maybe talk about how that relationship came to be, and then maybe some of the other people that you're working with that maybe even if they're not able to join us for the spaces, maybe talk a little bit about what they're doing.
So we came to know Forte through the Viva Bitcoin networking of, having a Spanish podcast and having a Spanish Twitter space. Um, just like I said, it's critical in Latin America that people learn about Bitcoin. Um, because of the false message that's being preached with NFTs, crypto, all the other things. And with Forte and Katria, I think it was critical for them to come to the having party because people, as Americans, me personally as an American, you don't realize what's happening in other countries, what people don't have, or how their economies crash all the time. In America, where a bad economy is I was not able to buy a brand new car this year. That's a bad economy in America, right? Where I live in Northern California. But in Cuba, people really the stagflation of their money and everything, and just like in Argentina, Mexico, anywhere else, it's really critical. So by bringing Forte and Katria to the having party, it was critical for them to give their testimony of what is happening in Cuba. So they came, they brought me cigars, paid them, in Bitcoin for the cigars. A lot of people love Cuban cigars. We brought a bunch of T-shirts from Dan, who we sponsored out of Yucatan. He could not come to the having party, but we paid him for a bunch of having party T-shirts and hats. Forte and Katria sold. Sean Harris was nice enough to let them sell the hats at the having party, and they went back to Cuba, with some Bitcoin, right? And that's what Viva Bitcoin's about. We're all helping each other. We're all interconnected. Uh, they sold out on the T-shirts and the hats at the having party, and they sold about 5, 6 dozen, and they learned themselves more about what the Bitcoin economy is at. What we're doing. We all have something to offer, and by them coming, it was amazing because people don't realize. What Cubans make a month. They gave me their testimony, what's happening in Cuba. And here you have Forte, who's an educated man, university educated professor, and he is paid $20 a month in Cuba. Now, in America, you could never live on that. In Mexico, El Salvador, you could never live on that. So when I heard that, it broke my heart. It really gave me a compassion that the rest of the world is really, really needs Bitcoin. They really need Bitcoin. And in this process, Forte also learned about the Bitcoin economy, how we're trying to sell. You got Cuban cigars. There's a demand for Cuban cigars. Let's sell them. Let's get them here. There's someone wants them. They'll pay Bitcoin. So by doing that and bringing other people, we brought Lightning Coffee, Jose from Lightning Coffee. We brought a girl from Hawaii, Brittany. She's a developer there. There was a whole team of us, and we brought Amanda, Andres, Elizabeth. There was a whole team, 10 of us there at the having party. And the purpose of having 10 team members there was to make connections. I met people I never would have met in the Bitcoin space if I was not at that having party. I made friends. I mean, I got to meet you, Mike Peterson. But those are connections that we made, that knows someone else, that knows this person, that knows that person, that could connect you with this person. So that's part of what Viva Bitcoin is we're trying to bring people together. We're trying to unite. And hey, someone that can you know, get me cigars. Yeah, we'll connect with this person. Hey, someone that can make me T-shirts. Yes. Hey, there's a guy in La Paz that has a Citadel there. Did you know that you could buy a place there? Like I didn't know that. Just by making these connections, you're constantly meeting people. You're constantly talking to someone that knows someone that wants to help you, or you can help.
So just for a little background, just for my own personal, so I understand, Tony, is Viva Bitcoin, is this something that is just inspirational project that you're doing out of desire to see things spread? Are you hoping to eventually this turns into some type of business, or how do you envision this remaining sustainable? Is it going to rely on donations or self-funding, or what is the long-term plan?
Right now, we're self-funding. and we're talking to a lot of groups. But as when you first start, the thing I love about Bitcoin is people want to see proof of work, right? Who is Viva Bitcoin? What are you guys about? What are you doing? People want, this is what I love about our, the economy, the circular economy. The circular economy is honesty, right? It's honest, hard work. So people want to see the proof of work of Viva Bitcoin. Who are we? What are we doing? What's going on? Now people are starting to see it and they're asking me, hey, how can I sponsor? Hey, what can I do? Hey, how can I be a part of this? So one of the things we're doing is December 2025. So that'll be a year and a half from now. We're going to have a conference in Mérida, Yucatan in Mexico. And just by announcing the conference, I'm already starting to get sponsors to pay for it. I thought it
I'm
was going
sorry.
to have to come out of my pocket, but we're starting to get sponsors. So we are growing in the sense of someday our team or members or whoever we are, we hope to be full-time Bitcoiners. That's the desire of Viva Bitcoin, is that we don't have to eventually rely on the fiat world, that because we built the circular economy in Canada, Mexico, the US, El Salvador, Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela, all over, that we don't have to rely on the fiat standard.
So tell us a little bit more about the conference. What's the idea behind it? And I was not aware yet that was happening. So and I can't remember if you mentioned the dates or not, but make sure people know about it.
Yeah, the conference is December 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th in Yucatan, Merida, in a year and a half, December of 2025. And the purpose of the conference is what's happened in Latin America. And forgive me for the words, but we use the word shitcoin, right? And we use NFTs, we use crypto, is the terminology that's out there that people try to associate with Bitcoin. So in Mexico, Central America, South America, there's conferences happening, every year, that what they call crypto, or they call NFT conferences, or decentralized conferences or something. So we're trying to do in Mexico is bring a Bitcoin only conference, just like Pacific. You attend Pacific, or you attend BitBlock Boom or the Halving Party. We want to do a conference like that to educate people and to bring people together and talk about Bitcoin. So everything that has to do with Bitcoin, the development of Lightning, circular economy, Mi Primero Bitcoin, education, um, all the different aspects of Bitcoin. So that's what we're hoping that this conference brings, so that people that have a misconception like I did, even 4 years ago, or not understanding Bitcoin completely, but being a Bitcoiner. It's education. It's letting people know that there's help. There's help in the community. So
Tony, are you guys involved with the conference in Colombia? I have been seeing that they announced a conference for this year, right?
yeah, so that's, we're part of that. Yeah, so that's John. John, he's a sports director from South Carolina, and we are part of that Medellin, Colombia Bitcoin only conference. We are sponsoring. We're one of the sponsors, helping John set up the website. It's kind of getting our feet wet, right? It's the first Bitcoin only conference in Colombia, and we are part of that. It's the Medellin Bitcoin conference, and yeah, we're part of it, helping, and we're also getting our feet wet, right? Because you have this conference in Nashville, right? The one in Nashville is going to have 15, 20,000 people. They have 400 sponsors. Some of those tickets are pretty outrageous, right? So if they're doing it in the US, Pacific, BitBlock Boom, Bitcoin Day, I belong to Bay Area Bitcoiners. So It's starting to happen in Latin America. So we're part of the Viva Bitcoin is sponsoring the Medellin Bitcoin only conference. That's in January. It's in January of next year. So we are part of that, and that's kind of our first test to see where that's headed. Now, I think
So is
Colombia.
that January 2025 or
Yeah, January
26?
2025. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's January. Yeah, 2025. I'll post it on here. But that's the first one to kind of get our feet wet and see how we can bring Bitcoin to Latin America. Because the gentleman John, what he does is he's actually organizes women's basketball tournaments. So he brings high school girls basketball tournaments. So he sets them up. He's setting up events. So he's an event planner, and working with him has been great. It's our first time. He just went out to Medellin, rented the place, and kind of went by faith, right? Just what Bitcoin sometimes happens is you just go by faith and proof of work, and it works itself out, right?
Nice. We need to connect in later because we're gonna have in January the first Bitcoin in Spanish here, Bitcoin conference in Spanish here in El Salvador. So we would love to have some of the people that you guys are supporting and having them as speakers here, or let's talk. I think there are some things that we can work in together.
What are the dates for the Medellin conference?
The Medellin conference, I have it here. I just, sorry, I'm a bit dyslexic sometimes with numbers. The Medellin conference, I believe, is the 26th and the 27th. Let me see here. I should have it right in front of me.
And Ramon, when's the one in El Salvador? Is it the
It's the
30th?
17th and the 18th. So the Medellin
Okay.
conference, January 17th and the 18th, in Medellin, Colombia. And we were able to lock in some good speakers already. And as things, they can be pretty expensive sometimes. But we have Luke, I think his last name is Mike. Jeff Booth. We have Maya Parho. I think it's Parho. She's running for president of Suriname. So they got some names already in there that they're starting to, set that up. Hopefully, they can have a good crowd by January.
Well, Medellin's a fun city to go to. So, and are you guys doing it? Is it going to be bilingual or Spanish only, or what's the plan for the conference?
So the plan for that conference is it's in Spanish, but they're going to have bilingual translation. So they will have some translators there. So if you want to attend the conference, you can tune in to a bilingual English speaking. There's going to be an interpreter there. Where you hook up to either a space or you plug in with headphones or something. What we're trying to do with the conferences, just my personal experience from all the conferences I've gone to over the years, is even some of the ones we've had in El Salvador or other parts of Latin America have always been in English. So they're, it's almost like the same crowd, kind of same friends, it's get together with some of the same Bitcoiners. But what we're trying to really do is get the Bitcoin message to the Spanish speaking community, kind of more grassroots down to the people. And we're hoping that the conference in in December 2025 for Viva Bitcoin in Merida, we're hoping that locals from Mexico can attend the conference free. That's what we're hoping for if we get enough sponsors. So that, because again, in Mexico, to attend a conference in Mexico and come up with $500, that's a lot of money. for us Americans, sometimes $500 is what we spend, you know, somewhere that's it's a luxury. But in Mexico, where people make, $200 a week for a $500 4-day conference, that's quite a bit of money. So that's what we're hoping for.
Well, awesome. We'll have a time for questions. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to cover, Tony, that make sure people know about Viva Bitcoin. At the end, when we close out, we'll make sure to let people know where they can follow and how they can support you guys. But is there any other topics you want to cover before we open it up for questions?
Yeah, definitely. My passion. I was born in Mexico, but I came to America when I was 2 years old. I really don't remember, and raised in America all my life. But definitely, what I like people to know, being bilingual is a blessing. You can kind of witness to Spanish speaking and English speaking people about Bitcoin, right? You can explain Bitcoin in two different languages, which is great, right? But I think one of my passions for people, as I'm seeing the Bitcoin economy or the circular economy grow since I got into Bitcoin, and you're seeing all the different things that are happening around Bitcoin. And, it's one of the, so for those that are not here in the US, this is a presidential year, right? And so even in the debates, or they're asking some of the candidates, are they pro Bitcoin? It's the first time in the history of Bitcoin that it's become a topic, right? So my thing with Viva Bitcoin is we want to be ready, with our circular economy, all the businesses and all the things that are happening, so that when Bitcoin blows up in, Latin America and in the US, um, with the circular economy, with, restaurants, you know, um, any type of business, as they start asking, how do I apply? How do I get Bitcoin? How does my business, um, what app do I download? What do I do? What is Bitcoin? Because it's going to come to that point where everybody's going to want to know how they can get Bitcoin, how their business can benefit from that. So we want to be ready. We want to be ready as that harvest comes in, right? As that huge amount of people start accepting Bitcoin, as I'm starting to see, every week someone will call me and said, "Hey, you told me about Bitcoin last year, when you were at my restaurant, or you were, here in my shop, buying some materials. I have a bunch of questions for you. I'm interested." I have clients from 2 years ago where I was, telling them, "Hey, I'll give you a discount if you pay me in Bitcoin." And clients from 2 years ago are calling me now and saying, "Hey, you're the Bitcoin guy. You're the Bitcoin contractor, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. I have a bunch of questions for you. I want to get into Bitcoin." So it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. So Viva Bitcoin wants to be ready for that. We want to be ready for the circular economy as it comes in, and also benefit from Bitcoin, but also help people.
Tony, I so appreciate what you do. I love the spirit about that you have. I can tell that it just really comes from the heart. I know you've put a lot of your own funds into this effort. So in case there's anybody out there looking to get a home built or remodeled or whatever, what part of California do you operate in? And can people DM you on Twitter if they're looking for a contractor?
Yeah, I do offer, believe it or not. So if there's anybody up here, I'm in Northern California. I'm about half hour north of San Francisco, in Marin County, Sonoma County. For those of you that know the wine country, Sonoma, Napa, Marin. Um, I do offer a 10% finder's fee for any referral in Bitcoin from the profit. So if I profit $10,000, I'll give you 10%, $1,000 in Bitcoin if you referred me for that job. And I've had two referrals in the last 2 years that I gave someone Bitcoin to. So that's also part of the circular economy, right? Um, you're making me Bitcoin, I'm gonna help you, right? So Northern California, it's a healthy economy here. It's ridiculous. Houses, fixer uppers are selling for over 1.5 million, 2 million, right? Those are fixer uppers. So it's a pretty crazy economy here in Northern California.
Well, Paco, can you do you want to head up the questions and see if there's folks in the if you have questions, Paco, you can start it off. But if there's other folks in there, they can raise their hand and we'll invite them up to speak. Or if you have questions for Forte about what's going on in Cuba, yeah, or about the conferences that are happening, any of the topics that we've spoken to. We just ask that you be respectful of the speakers. Sometimes we get people come up and they want to talk about some project they're working on or something not related to what we're talking about. So please keep on topic so we don't have to cut you off.
Yeah, here. So we have Pursuing Freedom. I just accepted your request, so go ahead and ask your question. You're on Pursuing Freedom.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just want to tune in. These are great spaces. I've been to El Salvador 5 times. I live up in Northern California, and I ride motorcycles. And I'm thrilled with the freedom Bitcoin gives individuals. And I'm thrilled with the freedom we can find on motorcycles. And so when I first heard of the first adopting Bitcoin conference, I invited my 3 kids to go with me. One daughter joined me. So I've been there for the last 3 years, and I typically end up renting a motorcycle out of El Tunco. So I'm actually putting together a motorcycle tour for the week directly following the Adopting Bitcoin conference. And we'll be starting out in El Zonte. So I'm really excited to show people. So I've traveled all over the country. I love Berlin, amazing things happening in El Salvador. And so I'm very excited the opportunity to take other motorcyclists with me, travel around, meet Bitcoiners I've met along the way, and just to explore the freedom of El Salvador, the freedom on 2 wheels. I love these conferences, the work that's going on. Tremendous opportunities for people, and I just want to showcase what's happening in El Salvador.
Are you coming this year for adopting Bitcoin?
Absolutely. In fact, I'll be there. I live up in Northern California, also more north than the other gentleman. I'm up in the Redding, the very top of the Sacramento Valley. Yeah, I'll be there for a week in August. I'll be there for 2 weeks, right around the conference time and following. So it's fantastic what's happening. In fact, El Salvador has become part of my Bitcoin story. So in my job, I'm a corporate pilot and I fly all over the world. And I'm always, if I am tipping people, spending money, I am offering Bitcoin. And I tell them, I just have to offer you the better money first. So dollars are okay, but Bitcoin's better. So when I'm going to the Bahamas or to Costa Rica, I'm tipping the handlers in Bitcoin. So it gives me my job. I love my job. It gives me a great platform to talk to people every day, people in restaurants, people at the different airports. And I love promoting the Blink wallet. It's a great wallet. Unfortunately, we can't use it in the US with the US phone number. But when I was in Africa, I gave over 30 people a Blink wallet with tips. Last March, I was in El Salvador again. I gave over 30 people a Blink wallet. So many people in El Salvador, as you all know, it's known, but many people don't use it. So I tell people, hey, let me show you this Blink wallet. It's some amazing technology, and I'm all thing, and El Salvador has become part of my story. As I share with people, when I travel to El Salvador, I pay for all my goods and services in Bitcoin, from rental cars to hotels. And I love sharing what's happening as this bright beacon in the world, El Salvador.
That's nice. Maybe one day we will have the Viva Bitcoin jet, private jet.
Hey, we should do that, yes.
We will go around the world, right?
Yeah, for sure, we could do that.
I'm in.
Forte, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, I want to say that Persistent Freedom is a great friend of Cuba Bitcoin. Hello, friend. I hope you are okay, and I hope see again. I hope see you again.
You know, we will meet in El Salvador, but Cuba is very, very high on my list to visit. So I'm hoping in 2025 I will see you in Havana.
You are welcome.
So, just to let you guys know, we're trying to work with Forte right now to do a Bitcoin tourism to Cuba. So all you Bitcoiners that want to go to Cuba, we're trying to start a Bitcoin tourism in Cuba. So Viva Bitcoin will go out there next year to do some filming and some doing some documentaries and stuff, so we can get some type of website on our website or some type of tour guide. But think about, if you guys want to be a part of that group, to go visit Forte and his family and bring some Bitcoin to the economy there. That's part of also Viva Bitcoin. We're trying to unite different tourists, different businesses around different parts of Latin America.
Love it, love it. We also might have some people that offering service too, Tony, that we can pass it to you, that you can have it in your radar, when people ask you for it.
One thing, definitely the passion I have for Bitcoin and just being on this space right now, right? The circular economy space. We didn't have this, not even, I would say not even a year ago, right? Or 2 years ago. This is a new space, right?
Yeah, we've been doing it for just a couple months now.
Yeah, so this in itself is an inspiration of how we're bringing different Bitcoiners together.
100%. We have here Amanda. Come on, Amanda. Come to say hi. You request to talk.
And does Amanda not want to talk?
Hey, how
Yeah,
are you?
she's on stage now. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, how you guys doing?
How's it?
This has been great. I'm so stoked that Tony came on here because literally, I think it's so. I don't know if you got this across, but what I love most about what Viva Bitcoin is doing is a Spanish education. He's building, when you meet people who are just amazing at building teams, that's Tony. Like he has two people that I think are going to be like, well, we already have the Nat Brunel of Latam on the Viva Bitcoin team. I think Mike had an experience with having an interview. That was pretty awesome. And then he has Andreas. We had an event in Baja California in La Paz just last month. And Andreas from Viva Bitcoin team came and he hosted. He was such a legend. It was so fun. Then he has Christian who does videography. And he was here in Merida filming Bitcoin in Mexico way back. And he's from Guadalajara. They've been growing the Guadalajara team since meeting Tony. It's like, and then of course you have like Cuba and Hawaii and Colombia. I think what he's doing is like giving people a space to learn from each other and making a Espanol space, because that's what we're missing here. Because like Tony said, we have a lot of shitcoiners. Sorry, my language, but there's a lot. So getting over that barrier, like you can see Tractor in the audience. Tractor was like, he attended my very first meetup here in Merida, and I called them my max season training. He was like my only graduate of like 12 people. I think it was a year later. And now he's starting to lead all the Bitcoin businesses here in Merida. So it's like, and he's been supported by Tony all this time. So I think that's what's key, is bringing people together on an educational and empowering. Like you can hear everybody's super empowered. I think it's special.
Who is Amanda that we can brought here to speak? is he here?
Oh, Viva Bitcoin, I mean.
Oh,
Oh, Tractor. Yeah, he's Tractor. Tractor, you want to come up? You can speak on Espanol and then we can translate. Can you invite up Tractor?
oh, Tractor.
I just sent him a invite.
Legend. Yeah, he came. Actually, thanks to the Bitcoin Beach donation, we had kept a little bit on our side for businesses, and that brought Tractor to La Paz. And he went to his very first Bitcoin event. It was an orange pill event, and he's like, "I'm a maxi now." It was like a proud Bitcoin mama, I guess. It was very cool.
What's up, Tractor?
Hola, hola,
¿Cómo
¿cómo
estás?
están todos? I'm gonna talk to Spanish because my English is not very well. But hi, all of you, and uh,
Roman will translate for you.
I think his English is better than mine, so
yes. So what's the deal of o el tema? ¿Cuál es el tema del que estamos hablando? Es que ando un poco aquí indispuesto.
no, hablábamos cómo Amanda nos contaba cómo su trabajo ha sido importante con los negocios, cómo ahora sos un maximalista. Un poco si nos puedes contar cómo ha sido esa experiencia de llegar a
Ah,
Bitcoin, de educar a los
claro.
negocios.
Sí, claro. Mira, a final de cuentas, pues toda la persona que entiende el ecosistema de Bitcoin, es, pues más bien cuando te invitan al ecosistema de Bitcoin y empiezas a entender Bitcoin, realmente lo que sucede es que Bitcoin te hace como virtuoso porque te hace cuestionarte del dinero, de dónde viene el dinero, cómo se hace valor en el dinero. Entonces te empiezas a hacer pues muchas preguntas y cuestionamientos acerca del dinero. No sé si lo quieras traducir.
Tony, ¿quieres traducir?
See, yeah, what he said is that Bitcoin exposes, and shows you what money really is. So when he came to Bitcoin, it showed him of what the money system was really about. So if you guys look in the space there on that, where we put little messages, you can see two of the shirts he designed. I don't know if some of you can see the message board there. There's a message board where you could put a photo or something. Do you guys see the two shirts? He made one for Haiti. We're sponsoring a Haiti Bitcoin, and then the Viva Bitcoin shirt we had with all the different sponsors. So that was Trucker Dan designed those.
Así
I
es.
think the whole having
Pero
party,
bueno,
everybody had one.
después de la traducción, y bueno, cuestionándome el dinero, sabiendo un poco de economía, porque igual uno no lo sabe todo. Pues ahorita ya estoy lanzando mi marca de ropa. Y el concepto de la marca de ropa también que estoy diseñando y quiero hacer, pues es que aprendas a través de tu vestimenta o que aprendas Bitcoin y expreses pues en tu playera que lleves un mensaje, el mensaje de Bitcoin, ¿no? Que al final de cuentas es ser libre financieramente y pues también un poco de la historia de Bitcoin.
Yeah, so he was saying through his shirts and his work, expressing the Bitcoin, and then being financially free through his work in Bitcoin is something that he's learned, and he's learned about the financial economy through Bitcoin.
Y por otro lado, pues sí ha sido un camino duro, duro pero no difícil, bastante entretenido. Y la realidad es que las personas que he conocido por el ecosistema de Bitcoin y todo este tema, pues estoy muy agradecido con ellas y pues tenemos que seguir trabajando para que a final de cuentas la semilla de Bitcoin se esparza en todo el mundo, lo entienda todo el mundo y una vez que lo entiendan ya los cambios pues van a ser posibles en la sociedad.
So he was saying about Bitcoin, people learning about Bitcoin and planting the seed of Bitcoin. And once people learn about Bitcoin, the economy and things will take care of themselves just because as people learn about Bitcoin and what's happening in the economy.
Nice, nice. Tractor, te vamos a invitar que vengas y seas speaker en la conferencia de español, que cuentes y hables de la experiencia de México en enero.
Perfecto, muchas gracias. Sí, encantado. Y pues seguimos aquí en este camino. Y ahora sí que seguir ahí trabajando con Bitcoin, con los grupos que apoyan a toda la gente. Y seguimos aquí.
Perfecto. Forte nos trajo unos habanos, tú nos tienes que traer unos tacos, güey.
Ahí llevo un cabrito también y unos taquitos al pastor para toda la gente ahí que conoce México, pues taco al pastor creo que es lo más común de aquí.
Súper, súper.
Yo no sé si José puede hablar, José Saragá, puedes hablar porque él es un socio mío de Viva Bitcoin. Jose, can you talk? Jose, are you available to just kind of let people know what you're doing with Viva Bitcoin and how this started?
What's his Twitter handle? Is it host3?
Yes, that's it. Yes.
I sent him an invite.
Or there are many speaker and you can be.
No, it's fine. He just have to accept the request. Pursuing Freedom, can you mute yourself, please?
I sent him an invite, but maybe he's not able to come up right now. I don't know. You never know with Twitter Spaces if it's a problem with them coming up or if it's just a glitch.
Yeah, just a little bit about Jose. He's a developer. I don't know if you guys seen the Bitcoin Cube. He's the guy that designed the Bitcoin Cube. Just shows, it's one of the shows what the blocks on Bitcoin and trying to kind of gives the different things that are happening on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So he's one of my partners in Viva Bitcoin. He's one of the guys I started Bitcoin with. And just to kind of give an example, what's happening is we hosted a dinner, a Bitcoin dinner at a Mexican restaurant associated with his family. So we had free tacos, free beer, free Mexican food, right? We had about 20 people show up, and most of them were Bitcoiners. But we also had a few people show up that were not Bitcoiners, right? Gave them the message of Bitcoin. But that's part of also, kind of grassroots, right? Grassroots Bitcoin of bringing people to an event that's non-confrontational, right? We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not selling Amway, Herbalife, Shackley, Avon. What are the other Ponzi's out there, right? So we're just giving you a free meal, right? And you're hanging out and you're talking about food and and what is Bitcoin. It's it's part of what we're trying to do also with Viva Bitcoin, hosting events, just talking about it, kind of grassroots. What do you do? Yeah, I'm a developer. Yeah, I'm a contractor. Oh, I'm a school teacher. Oh yeah, I'm a painter. Oh, okay, what do you do? I'm a gardener. Yeah, come and have some free food. We're gonna talk, just casual. Because I think a lot of people are afraid, or a lot of people, it's almost like, what is Bitcoin trying to sell me? Is it a Ponzi scheme? Is it una piramida? Is it a pyramid, or what is it? But the grassroots, face to face, talking to someone, small business, enjoying the community. I think what for me also Viva Bitcoin is about.
Awesome. Well, we're coming up on the hour, so we'd like to kind of try to keep it to that when we can. But I want to make sure, Tony, that you come back out and let people know where exactly to find all these businesses that are accepting Bitcoin that you guys have connected with, where they can find the information on the conferences, and obviously make sure they're following you on Twitter so they can get updates on all these things. And then any closing words you have for us.
Yeah, definitely want to thank you, Mike, for having me on here. We do have a website. It's viva-bitcoin.com. We're still working on putting all the other businesses on there. It's it's still under development, but we do have a few of the businesses we support. There's some of the different things we do are on there. But as we upgrade, we'll let you know. But what I would appreciate if people can come on Monday nights at 5 o'clock California, 8 o'clock New York on the Viva Bitcoin space in Spanish. I'd appreciate if people come on there just to talk about Bitcoin, educate. But thank you for having me on here. Appreciate it.